I just got my bike back after being in the shop for 2 full weeks. This video is a story on how a simple at-home oil change can go drastically wrong and hopefully give you some knowledge and steps on how to prevent that happening to you, as well as having a huge financial setback like unfortunately it did for me. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the bike for a nice downtown Coeur d'Alene cruise and tell you all about it. Let's get on.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Inland 208 Adventures. My name's Chris and I just want to start this video out by just thanking all of our viewers and subscribers for supporting this channel. It's been a wonderful journey that Cassie and I have been on for not all that long, and we're just inducted into the YouTube partner program, and we're just so thankful and grateful to all the support that we've been given pretty much across the board. We now have super thanks, so if you have one of our videos that helps you out or you learn something cool from it, you can do basically a tip. There's a little thanks button on the bottom of the video you can hit if you want to support our endeavors on this channel. We also have a membership program now if you want to become a member of the program, with exclusive perks and early access to our videos, which I think is pretty neat. Cassie and I both appreciate all of the comments and discussions and well wishes that you guys give us on every video, and even the constructive criticism. It just helps me make videos that are more interesting to you. So I just want to say thank you to all of that, and it's just been a really fun journey. So I just wanted to start out the video with something positive, because the rest of the video is a little bit negative, but hopefully my negative experience can turn into a positive experience for somebody else. All right, that's all we can hope for. So I'm really glad to have my bike back. It was at the shop for 2 weeks, and I was really anxious and nervous. It was this is a brand new bike. It was just really nerve-wracking not having it here with the particular issue that I had. It is all figured out. It is all fixed. It did cost a lot of money, unfortunately, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But we're just going to go this way here. This is North Idaho College, for those of you who don't know. We're going to go down the Dike Road. I haven't been on this road in forever. Just hit 670 miles. Obviously, you see more than that on here right now because I've had the bike back for a few days and we've done some pretty long rides. So I decided it was time to do the first oil change, and I opted to do it myself. Now, full disclosure, I am in no way a mechanic, but I know enough to get myself into trouble. And I know I've done lots of oil changes in the past. I've done them on motorcycles. I've done them on cars. So it's it's not rocket science. You could definitely do it. And if you have to do maintenance on a vehicle that you're not sure about, there's lots of videos on YouTube. You can there's instructions on your owner's manual. I'm a big proponent in reading your owner's manual for all things that you buy brand new, from start to finish. That's something I do. It drives my wife crazy, but it's something that I do. Go ahead. Baby on board. Baby maybe is crying. So anyway, moving on. So I decided to do the oil change myself, and I thought it was a good opportunity to get my 6-year-old son Nolan to do it with me and kind of start teaching him some of this stuff. And it was all going pretty well. We got all the parts that we needed from our local dealer. Got all the oil drained. This particular motorcycle is the 2025 Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. Now the DCT, if you don't know, has 2 oil filters. There's the main one, which is like a canister type oil filter towards the front of the bike here, and then there's also kind of like a small kind of cylinder, I don't know, paper-ishy filter that's for the DCT, and there's 2 drain bolts. So we got the oil drained out of it and popped the cover off for the DCT oil filter. To do that, got the new filter popped in there, put the new gasket in, got it all reinstalled, made it all good and tight, hand tight. And the only thing I couldn't do was the factory had that can oil filter for the main filter just wrenched on there super tight. And for those of you that are watching our videos, you know that my arm hurt my arm a while back, and it's still not quite 100%, so I'm not exactly at full strength, but yeah, I could not get that thing off. So I needed to go and get one of those oil filter wrenches, and decided to go to my local Ace Hardware to take care of that. And before we left, so on our way out, my neighbor stops me across the fence and says, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And I tell him, "Hey, we're just changing out the oil for the first time. Finally got her all broken in." And he goes, "Cool, do you need any tools?" And I thought, and I didn't say the oil filter wrench because I kind of wanted one of those anyway, but I said, "Well, you know, if you have a torque wrench, that'd be awesome." He's like, "Yeah, I got two. Let me go around back." So let me pause this here for a second. You could probably tell where this video is going just by me saying torque wrench. I didn't have one, so I make everything hand tight, which is good. That's good. That's where I should have stopped. I'll keep with the story though. So he comes back over to my place, and he's got two. He's got your standard torque wrench, and then he's got a smaller one that's in inch pounds. And so I opted for that one, did the conversion into foot pounds, which is very easy math. I know I did my math right. I did my research before. I knew that Honda had torque specifications for the DCT cover bolts. And since the situation presented itself, I decided, you know what, I'll go ahead and torque them. I have a tendency to get a little OCD if I know that something needs to be done. I want to do it the right way. So I borrow the torque wrench. My neighbor comes over, so we do the math. We convert the inch pounds into foot pounds. Chose that one because I know the torque wrenches, if it's lower in their capabilities, they're not as accurate. And so the inch pounds one, I'm not going to tell you what the torque specifications were, but it's very low. And so I opted for the inch pounds one because I thought it would be a better tool for that particular job. So we go to do it, and I'm alternating the bolts like you're supposed to, getting it nice and snugged in there well. And they just kind of keep turning, and I start getting nervous because, gosh, I know I had that on there pretty tight. It was hand tight, sure, but it was, I'm not weak. I had it in there pretty tight. And so I start getting a little nervous, and then the one on the left-hand side clicks, and I know it's torqued down. And so I felt a little better on that one. So then I alternate back over to the right-hand side one. And that one just kind of, I figured it was going to torque or click on me right about the same time, maybe a little bit more turns. And it kind of keeps going. I look up at my neighbor and say, "I'm getting a little nervous." He says, "Yeah, me too." And literally right when I said that, the bolt broke. It just broke off. And he and I look at each other, go, "Oh shit," at the same time. So we take off the left-hand one that did torque and pull the DCT cover, the filter cover off, and take a look and see what's happening here. And it sheared off kind of inside the engine block. It was not in a very accessible location, so that kind of left us with very few possibilities other than trying to extract the bolt in some way. And the way that it sheared, it wasn't a flat, it didn't break flat. It was kind of nippled out, like kind of towards us. It was, very, very unfortunate the way that it broke. So my neighbor goes, he had an extraction kit, so he grabs that, and we try to extract it, and it's not going well. The way that it broke, drill bits and stuff are trying to walk on us and try to drill, and then the drill tries to eat up the threading on the inside of the engine cover there, which is not what we want. So he and I work at it for a good hour, and then I decided, you know what, you go home, I'll have some lunch, I'm going to call the big guns in. The big guns are my dad. So I call my dad in. He, on his way to my house, he grabs a different extraction kit that was a little bit more higher quality, he needed one anyway, and a left-handed drill bit just to see if we can get it out. And we probably spent a good 2, maybe even 3 hours on that thing, and we could not get it off to save our lives. And of course, every time we're trying to drill, I mean, we're trying to drill it in from, just because it was trying to walk on us, we're trying to drill it in from an angle, and then try to push the bit in a little bit. We broke one of the bits doing that, but just trying to get it to where we can go in it straight, and it's not wanting to do it, and at least not the way we're doing it. We start looking at each other thinking, gosh, I'm pretty sure we're starting to mess up some of that threading on the inside there, and that's a much bigger issue than what either of us want to deal with right now. So I left my garage and called up the dealer and kind of let them know what's happening, and the guy who's the head of the service department at the dealer says, "Oh man, that sucks. I hate it when that happens. Yeah, go ahead and bring it by. We'll do our best. We'll try to take a crack at it, and we'll let you know." So we trailered the bike over to the dealer. I didn't hear when I dropped it off over there, the tech, he seemed pretty optimistic. He said, "Yeah, I think we can get this out." Unfortunately, Honda makes these bolts out of butter, and they snap all the time. And I was like, great, nice of Honda to put crappy bolts in their stuff. So I drop it off. I don't hear back from him for, I don't know, quite a few days. And then he calls, he says, "Hey, I got some unfortunate news. I cannot get it out for the life of me." And he was basically having the same problem that my dad and I were having. We could get it to turn. We can get the bolt to turn about a quarter turn, not even a half, maybe a third of a turn, and it would stop. And that's why we were thinking that the threading was kind of messed up. And so he kind of came to that same conclusion. He said, "Really, the only thing I can do for you right now is replace that whole engine side cover." And I said, "Ooh, okay." And he says, "Now, unfortunately, it's going to be really expensive, about $1,250. And I was like, "Oh man, gosh, $1,250 just for a quick little oil change. This fast, really easy maintenance project is really starting to cost me a lot of money here." I say, "Well, let me give you a call back. Let me get a second opinion." Second opinion is Dad. So in the time leading up to this, I'm going to go down this road here because it looks kind of nice and shaded. So in leading up to this, my dad and I kind of talked about other ways. We knew that could be a possibility that we have to replace that cover, but obviously we're both hoping it wouldn't come to that. So we were thinking of alternate methods, what I would call the redneck fixes, and which would basically be either dremeling the bolt out and just removing it piece by piece, or possibly even or just being less careful, drilling it out, and then boring out a new bolt hole, making sure your measurements are right, making it a slightly larger bolt hole, tap the threading and all that, which we were pretty sure we could get that done, and my grandfather's got all the tools necessary to do that sort of thing. And so I just wanted to call him and say, "Hey, this is where we're at. Do we go? What do you think? Do we go with option B? I'm looking for advice here." And he's like, "Yeah, I think we could do it. Whether or not we should is really your decision." And so I ended up calling my brother-in-law. I thought about it for a solid hour and called the dealer back and said, "You know what? Go ahead and go forward with the cover replacement, and I'll eat the cost." I decided to go with that more conservative decision making, mostly because the bike is so new. I mean, it only had 670 miles on it. It's just, it's a new bike, and it voided my warranty. Not that the warranty is really helping me out with this. We'll get to that here in a minute. So yes, that's what we decided to do. Just go ahead and do it, get it done. I'm going to take the more conservative route, and we'll deal with the repercussions of that. After we did that, I looked up on Reddit and a few forums, and it turns out there's a lot of guys that are breaking that same exact bolt following Honda's torque specifications. So this video is partially about just kind of putting Honda on notice. Hey, you're putting crappy bolts in there. People are breaking them. I know that you know about it, and they're not covering it under warranty. Now, this is not against the dealer at all. The dealer was great to work with. They were really forthcoming. You know, I asked about the warranty. Is this a warranty fix? He says, well, he said the problem is that, he's like, I've kind of been down that road. The problem is that they want proof that you were torquing it to their specifications, and I don't have a way of providing that. And I said, yeah, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but to be fair to me too, there's no proof that I wasn't. You know, you can't prove that I wasn't doing it to their specifications. So, but I get it. You know, they couldn't do it. So it's not a warranty fix. So I'm just out the $1,250. So, you know, I just wanted to put this video out there, tell you guys my story, so to hopefully prevent you guys from having some of those same issues here. Hey, looks up, guys. So that, you know, when you do your maintenance at home, don't listen to Honda's torque specifications, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the DCT oil cover. And that goes for the Honda Rebel 1100, that goes for the Africa Twin. It has the same motor DCT combo in it. Don't listen to them. That's just my opinion, but I just do it hand tight. Do it good and hand tight. That's what they used to do back in the day. That's what I'm going to do from here on out. I'm still going to do my own maintenance for the most part. One of the reasons why I want to even get this bike is to learn more and to be better at this stuff and make videos for you guys. Now, the consequence of this really expensive build that I got is it's really going to slow down my content creation in the way. It's not going to slow it down like all the way, but you know, I had plans on doing a new exhaust. I wanted to put some new foot pegs in there. My foot pegs are driving me crazy. Bigger windshield, and I think all that would benefit you guys as my viewers. This bill is really putting a cramp in my style as far as getting those videos done in a timely manner. So that's the consequence of all this. And of course, Cassie, my wife, wasn't exactly stoked, you know, but you know, I told her, hey, it's not the bike's fault, man. It's technically my fault. You know, I should have just listened to my gut, and I did it. And it's really funny when you can track a decision down to its roots. Let me go on this rabbit trail here for a second. So earlier in the day, my son and I were in Ace looking at the oil filter wrenches, and I thought about getting one then, but I hadn't tried to take this one off yet, and I wanted to give it a shot. And so I didn't buy one. If I would have bought it then, I would not have ended up in the conversation with my neighbor that ended up with the bolt breaking. I would have been okay with the hand tightening of the DCT. I would have put oil in it. That was where I was at. Everything would have been fun. It's funny when you have a situation where you could reduce it all the way down to when it all went bad. And that was the spot, that morning time Ace trip where I was getting all the other things I needed and just didn't get that one thing. Well, with that, I'm hoping this video was helpful to you guys. You guys learned something from my expense a little bit. And you know, trust your gut, trust your instincts. You know, they give you torque specifications and some of these things. You don't necessarily need to do that. Just do it good and tight. Good and tight. If this video was interesting or informative to you in any way, go ahead and put a like on the video. Give me a comment if you've broken a bolt on your motorcycle, or if you've ran into the same issue with this exact same bike. I would love to hear about that. Please subscribe to our channel for more Inland Northwest adventures, and of course Honda Rebel 1100 content. Don't forget about our memberships. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and finish this cruise down Sherman, downtown Coeur d'Alene. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. I'm going to go ahead and finish this cruise. And that's it for this video. Be safe, everybody.